Okay. Happy Thursday. Huh. Okay, just waiting for the chat to populate somewhat. How you doing, Robert? Good for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That really helps me out. You know, these systems, they work when they want to work. Or if you press a wrong button or something, they explode. So everything is working okay. All right. A few different things today. Triplet fill-ins. Were you here when I did the triplet fill-ins, Robert? What's that? Good, okay. All right, the triplet fill-ins. I refer to it as fill-ins. And again, we're going to use the stick control book, page 5. What we need to establish is this. We're going to reference off page 5. But there's an interpretation, two different interpretations I'd like to straighten out. The straight up and down and swung. Now, I don't know whether you understand or ever had this concept before, but the way stick control book, page 5, line 1 is written is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the way you see it, that's the way you play it. So that's considered straight up and down. Now if I say swing the line, something changes here. I'm going to think of an eighth note triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so if I swing this straight up and down line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, the 1, 2, 3, 4 of the count 1 and 2 and is the downbeat, and all the ands become the duh of the triplet. So you have straight up and down, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now swinging that, it becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Understand that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's swung straight up and down. Who's David Brown? Huh. Okay, so the difference between straight up and down and swung. All right, so now we're going to interpret the page 5 swung, but we're going to leave out the lefts. So line 1, instead of playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're just going to eliminate the lefts and just play the rights. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and. Line 2, it's reverse of line 1, so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's straight up and down. We're going to swing it. So we have 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do you understand that, Robert? Yes, no? All right, if I might clarify itself if I go to line 3. If I'm playing line 3 straight up and down, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, hello, Mr. Otterson. Do you understand it? All right, we both understand it, so I don't have to go over it again. Okay. Now, we're interpreting the page now, swung. And we're just going to play the rights. Line 1 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 2, where it's reversed, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let me go to line 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now that's clear. That's what we're doing. So now I've established the way to interpret the page. However, there's one more move. We're going to make it a straight line of triplets. It's not going to be linear because we're going to play the bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, the hi-hat 2 and 4. So if I did line 1, filling in the balance of the triplet, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's line 1. Line 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now play it up a little bit, starting with line 1. I'll run through line 1 and I'll do line 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go, line 1. Come on, left hand. I got to go get an MRI on that left hand thing. All right, line 1. Line 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and They could do the whole page down like that. But I'm containing it on one voice. I can move my right hand to the floor tom, small tom. So like line 1, for example. Get the idea? Line 3, okay. I guess I have to slow it down somewhat. All right, line 3, straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And we know how to do that. Now we're going to swing the line. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and That's how I'm interpreting the line. But I'm going to eliminate now the lefts and just play the rights. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and the, 4, and the. Now that's the interpretation. Now we're going to fill in the balance of the triplet that I'm counting, and to make it, say, a linear line, let's leave the bass drum and hi-hat out. So I'm going to do this slow. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and line 3, right? I'm sorry, 3 and the, 4, my bad, the, 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Understand it a little bit better? Just you're eliminating the left through the interpretation. You're referencing off of that. Line 3 without the left swung would be 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. And like I said, I'm putting the balance of the triplet with the left hand. That's why it's called triplet fill-ins. So I do it really slow again. Line 3. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. That's how it's played. You got it? Now, I like to move this stuff around a little bit. I'm containing it to one drum. Line 1. Now I can take line 1 and take the right hand and move it someplace, wherever I want to. I'm working from the stick control book, page 5, line 1. And we're going to go to the syncopation book eventually, not in now's lesson, but tonight's lesson. This is the stick control book, line 3. Written, you see line 3 as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Got it? That's line 3, page 5, stick control book. Now, that's what's there, and that's what I just played. Now, I'm going to swing the line. I go into an 8th note triplet mode. So I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay? So now what I'm doing is all the downbeats are the first note of the triplet, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and I'm going to do line 1 swung. And all the ands now become the da of the triplet. So if I look at line 1, it's written 1 and. So I say, okay, let me swing that. It's 1 and the. Understand that? Now this is not written out yet. I don't have it written out for you guys. I didn't send any PDFs out. We're going to do a triplet triplet fill-in. So if I interpret line 1, swung, and I eliminated the lefts, I'd have 1 and 2, the 3 and 4 and okay? I eliminated the lefts. I'm thinking of the line swung. So now, I want to put in the balance of an 8th note triplet. Okay? So I'm counting now, instead of 1, the 2, or 1 and the, I'm counting 1 and the. The and the is going to be on the snare. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. So I do line 1 over and over again, nice and easy. Now, up a little bit is like this. Now, I like to move the right hand around, okay? As opposed to just keeping it on the snare drum, I like to move it around on the tom. So I'm going to play the rights now on the floor tom-tom, line 1. Slow it down, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Up tempo a little bit, line 1. So you want to be creative with that. As long as you maintain the interpretation like we just did, the right hand you could play on any tom-tom, or you could play it on the snare. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Got it? Line number 2, it shifts over. Instead of the right hand being on the 1, 2, 3, 4, it's on the duh of the triplet. 1 and duh, 2 and duh, 3 and 4 and duh. Fill in the triplet using the bass drum and hi-hat. 1 and duh, 2 and duh. Move it around a little bit. Okay, line 3 seems to like be not a stop sign, but a caution sign. Am I doing it right or am I doing it wrong? When you first learn this, you're maintaining a straight line of triplets. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Now that was a straight sticking right hand of eighth note triplets. Now I'm going to interpret line 3, but I'm going to maintain a straight line of triplet, eighth note triplet. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit the 1 duh and the 3 duh, and all the missing notes from the count are with the left hand. Line 3, nice and slow. 1 and duh, 2 and duh, 3 and duh, 4 and duh. Line 3, up tempo a little bit. Okay, you understand it. Now, I'm not going to do the whole page, but that's the interpretation. And I'm writing that out in the next workbook. You have 5 or 6 pages on that technique or that interpretation. Now, the next guide, the next move with that, once you understand how to do this between the right hand and the snare drum, or the top, which is I refer to, I can play them on the tom-toms, like 1 and 3 and 4, the snare drum, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and now I replace the right hand with the bass drum now. So I'm going to use just 2 voices here. I'm going to use the bass drum and the snare drum, interpreting it that way. So all the rights now, instead of being this, I'm going to substitute that right hand for the bass drum. So you have line 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Understand that, guys? 2, 3, 4. Line 2. 1 and 2 and 4 and Do you understand it, Jim? I mean, Otterson, Mr. Otterson, and Robert, and whoever else is watching? I mean, I don't want to go any further with this if you don't understand it. I'll go over it. Whatever it takes for you to understand it, that's cool. It's not a problem. Everybody has, their learning level here. You understand, Mr. Otterson and Mr. Robert Waltman? Do you understand? Okay, so now we're gonna, instead of now playing, good, all right. Instead of playing now this, we're playing it with the bass drum. No problem. Line 3, instead of the top like this, we're playing the bass drum in the right hand's place. Okay, that's the second variation of this particular level, of this lesson. Now, first you don't want to go to the next level, the next interpretation, until you understand what we just did, the first one and the second one. Now, the third one is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to be playing a jazz time. I'm in a triplet mode. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. But one thing you want to take note of is that right hand. This is a technique. You know, I'm not playing to the melody yet. I'm just playing a straight ahead jazz pattern with the right hand. So when I play that, there's a motion that happens here. First let's start with 4 quarter notes. Inside of the pattern, let's just play the quarter notes. And all those 4 quarter notes should sound the same. So I have 1, 2, and the 3, and the 4, and the da of the triplet is going to be somewhat lighter. So a motion, the level system comes into view here. I have free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, a free stroke. And I maintain that movement throughout the lesson. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. I get a consistent sound. Free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, a free stroke, down. Now I'm thinking of the jazz pattern as 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the bing. You understand that, gentlemen? That's the next addition to this. Now, I'm not sure anybody here is familiar with the Jim Chapin book, Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. Great book. He really made a mark in the drum community, in the drum book community. Okay, so, you know, when it first was presented to the public or to the drum students, when it first came out, it was a very difficult book. Now, here's my opinion about this. I'm not being condescending to Mr. Jim Chapin, because I happen to think he was a great instructor, excuse me, and he contributed so much to the drum world. But my opinion of that book is, yes, the graphics are there. And it opened up a lot of doors for me, so I could expand on it and go further. But I believe the book is a little stiff because it's very mechanical, which, you know, some of the things you're learning now, that's what you're learning. And that's not saying anything bad or derogatory about Jim Chapin. Jim Chapin was a beautiful person, a great instructor. So let's straighten that out. So here's what I do. I used to, at first, I used to love that book, and I still work in the book occasionally and compare it to what I'm doing now. And everybody who I give the book to or start a couple pages, they have difficulty with it. But there's something happens here with the exercises that you're learning right now. You know, it's just going to be sort of a struggle because it's new. It's a new concept. All right. Once you get it down, you will open up the Jim Chapin book and go right through it. No problem. Okay, so now let's go back to the playing the jazz time. You're taking a little break there. 1 and the 2. Look at the left foot. Heel, toe. 1 and that's going to be maintained throughout the exercise. Now I'm going to do line 1 with the triplet feel. We understand that? The interpretation? Line 2. Line 3. 2, 3, 4. Line 3. Line 4. Line 5. Here you go, line 5. Now, do we all understand that? There's three, it's the stick control book, man, is my primary source for teaching. I mean, I use other books, and I compare them rather, to the other books that are out there. I get in a lot of trouble a lot of times because I make a statement like everything you need to know is actually on page 5, 6, and 7. And in reality, if you study with me and I show you some of the interpretations, and if you can create your own interpretations, you got a lot of things going on. I could take rock patterns, samba patterns, jazz patterns, reading, and rudimental drumming, all from page 5, 6, and 7. Unbelievable. The brilliance of George Lawrence Stone is just totally remarkable. Okay, guys, you have any questions on anything that we've gone over, you're not sure of, or you want to make sure you're doing it correctly, give me a line and I'll play it for you against the jazz time. Now, I don't want to overburden you. You're playing it with the right hand swing on the cymbal. You want to eventually turn it around and play the left hand swing and play all the other interpretations with the right hand. That is another zone, another day. First, get this down. Any questions on anything? When the guys that are watching this, why don't you just get in the chat and say, yo, Matt, good exercise, or Matt, you suck, or whatever. Let me know what I'm dealing with here. It's so difficult talking to a screen. And the guys that are in the chat are doing a good job. Now, I'm going to be reviewing tonight's lesson, 7 p.m., here on YouTube. And as soon as I finish the lesson today, this afternoon, I will be on the phone with my computer tech to see how he's working and making out, updating what he missed on my website. And hopefully we'll get it going, running smooth on Monday, hopefully. If not, we can hang out here until that's completed. Now, everybody understands what I did so far today. Everybody has no questions? If not, anything else you would like? Who's this? Mick? Or, hey, you know what? If this is your first time here, hello, how are you? And I'm going to put my email address in here. Now, what I normally do, the students that frequent this site, I have 2 sites that I stream from. Right now, this is the only one for a couple more days until my site gets better, updated. I'm going to put my email in here. If you want to be added to my mailing list, let me email me, I'll add you. Now, what you do is when you get the email, you'll get an email for, say, next week, stating the locations of the lesson, the time of the lessons, and a PDF if needed. Now, I've just put together a workbook about a month or 2 ago, and the students that frequent the site have purchased the book or the PDFs, okay? And that's the things we work from. All right, so let me put my email in here, okay? Mac, where are you from? All right, that's my email. All you need to do is email me, and I'll add you if you'd like. I'll give you a whole back thing of, who's this? Okay. Okay, London, all right. Well, there is a PDF on it, and you know, I'm putting everything together in the workbook number 2. Now, if you'd like, Robert and Mr. Otterson, if I locate it on my computer, I will send you something like pertaining to today's lesson. Is that okay? And it does make it easier if you visualize it. Remember I mentioned the thing about Jim Chapin? You know, his book was great because of the graphics. You could see, you could envision what you're playing, and that's a good thing. But for you to play without seeing it, you internalize it, and you become stronger. But I will do my best, Robert and Mr. Otterson, to help you out with that. Anyway, the lessons on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are 1 p.m. on YouTube, Eastern Standard Time. Now, we were working 7 p.m. on my site, and you know, something happened. Some things have to be updated, and I'm hopefully it's being worked on now. Hopefully, it'll be done by Monday. So you'll get added to my mailing list. You will get an agenda for the week, books that I use, and PDFs if necessary. You know, it takes a lot of time to write the PDFs. And yeah, Mr. Otterson and Robert, I will send you something pertaining to today's lesson. We will be going over this same thing this evening at 7 p.m. Okay? Is that okay with you, Mr. Otterson? You don't see me reading it. It's inside. It's internalized. Because I've been doing it so long, I never really, when I learned it, I didn't write it out. I internalized it. What makes it stronger. Any questions about what we did yesterday about the linear concepts? Any that was line 5, harmonic. Huh. Any questions on those lessons? Gentlemen? Oh, I really wish this left hand would get better. I lost about 90% of my power and my control. It really hurts. All right, no questions. How about you, Mr. Otterson? And how about you, Mac? Any questions? I'll try to get them out to you as soon as possible. Okay? You don't like that interpretation of the stick control book, cross harmonic? Okay. I hope you gentlemen are enjoying the lessons and you're getting something out of it. It's helping you. And I don't know how cold it is in Europe. I know it's cold in Wisconsin. I've been out there in the wintertime one time. Woof. But here in the USA, in New Jersey, where's the wire? Oh, come on. I know it's pretty cold today. And I dislike the cold. You know, speaking of Wisconsin or Minnesota or whatever, in that area, the Midwest, I was out there for a winter. I was actually stationed in the service in Indianapolis, Indiana. But I did a lot of stuff in Wisconsin. and Minnesota. And man, in the wintertime, my goodness, it's cold. And when they say a snow storm, they're meaning when you open your door, you don't see nothing but snow. Here, what they call a blizzard is about a foot of snow. That's considered a dusting in your area there, Robert. I hope you have a snowblower. Okay, guys. Tonight, 7 p.m., same channel. If there is no questions. Yeah, we're about like 28 degrees right now. Okay, guys. We'll see everybody tonight. Okay? 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Sorry. Have a good day. Any questions, please email me. Or any requests, email me. And we'll do something about it. Snowplow. Okay. I don't envy you guys. Ice storms and snow plows, and man, I turn the heat up and go under the blanket. I'm not fond of the cold too much. Okay, guys, see everybody tonight, 7 p.m. Have a good rest of the day. And like I said, if there is any request on anything you'd like for me to go onto or write out for you, or you want to I give you a lesson on the samba or whatever it might be that you'd like, please email me and request it. Okay? So have a good rest of the